What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Gooner channel, a channel 100% dedicated to the Arsenal, who are, as we all know, by far the greatest team the world has ever seen. And it's all starting to get very real at the top of the table. Manchester City, not unexpectedly, visited St Mary's and, well, they annihilated Southampton. First half, they played well within themselves, scored late into the end of the first half to give themselves a 1-0 lead, and then from then on it was a demolition job. Fantastic overhead kick from Erling Haaland, 2 goals from him. Jack Grealish, whose form since the World Cup has been outstanding. Kevin De Bruyne with a wonderful assist and smiling during the post-match interview. And let's face it, Man City's run-in is not a difficult one. We're probably the only very difficult opponent they face. So for us to drop any points at all tomorrow when we play Liverpool is going to mean one thing. It's going to hand a clear and decisive advantage to a City that are well-versed and well-practiced in winning titles. 4 out of the last 5. Now, what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to sit here and talk about how long it's been since we won at Anfield and that they have some sort of curse over us. They don't. This particular team last went to Anfield in November of 21, and it wasn't this team either, let's be clear. We've been waiting a long time for a trip to Anfield that means as much as this. And the parallels are obvious. In 1989, due to the Hillsborough disaster, our match with Liverpool found itself played on a Friday. All the other games throughout the league had been played, and it came down to the 2 teams that were first and second in the table. Arsenal, with a slightly inferior goal difference, had to win at Anfield by 2 clear goals, and no one gave us a chance. George Graham decided to take the team up there on the day rather than the night before, based on the principles of Sun Tzu. Get in and out as quick as you can. He found that the whole environment was hostile. And on the night, an absolute touch of class from the Arsenal. All of the players that went out gave bouquets of flowers to the various parts of the Anfield crowd. And I will say this as well. We won that game. We won it 2-0. And at the end, it was the fans of Liverpool who stayed behind and clapped the team. There is probably not a better location in the world to celebrate football. They are fans who really know their stuff. I have huge respect for Liverpool. And I know they've been having a torrid time. You know, there's no point in dressing it up. They're 13 points off the top 4, which after last season, almost winning a quadruple or coming that close to a quadruple, it has fatigued the players. Their game against Chelsea, there were huge gaps. Their game against Manchester City, there's barely any midfield to speak of. A lot of people are saying this. It depends which Liverpool turn up. Well, at home, we can expect them to turn up. Just ask Man United. But we have to go up there and play like champions if we want to be champions. It's days like this that define whether you are thought of and remembered as champions. In 89, no one gave us a chance to do it. The parallels. George Graham in his 3rd year as manager. A manager no one really wanted. He'd won a trophy in his 1st year, and he'd gotten rid of all of the superstars. He'd brought in unfancied players that no one had really heard of, and he'd moulded them into a really tight and cohesive unit. He had a vision for how that evening was going to go, and I have to believe that Arteta has done the same. I was so happy to see that Mikel Arteta and Martin Odegaard had gone to the memorial of those who lost their lives at Hillsborough, because really it's hard to express what it felt like watching those events unfold on television, and I cannot imagine for the life of me what it must have been like for the players, for the families who lost people. I know that Kenny Dalglish, for example, was an absolute rock, attending the funerals, supporting the families, all while trying to win a title. And when he actually quit Liverpool, with Liverpool at the top of the table, it was because of the strain of that. It was a highly charged emotional time. And exactly like this Man City side, that Liverpool team had really had an unspectacular season by their own standards, but they went on one hell of a winning run. We faltered somewhat. We lost at home to Derby, we drew at home to Wimbledon, and had to go to Anfield and make up the 3 points there. Could this season be more similar? Well, this is the season that we have our first realistic chance to win the title in 19 years. In 89, it was our first chance to win the title in 18 years. Generation of Gooners out there, you just don't know what it's like to win a trophy. And we are so close. We are touching distance to that parade and the celebrations and the 250,000 of us or more that will turn out on the streets of Islington to celebrate together. It's going to come down to how brave the players are, and it's going to come down to how well Mikel Arteta can calm them down. Can he keep them grounded? He's been trying everything. We know from the All or Nothing documentary that he pumped the speakers full of "You'll Never Walk Alone" to try and recreate the atmosphere of Liverpool. It's not going to be possible in training to emulate anything like the experience those young men are going to have when they step onto the grass tomorrow. But I appreciate he's doing everything he can to simulate that. And I also appreciate that this is a group of players who have risen to every challenge. They weren't expected to be where they are now. This is no time for me to say whatever happens tomorrow, or whether we win the league or not, they will still be heroes. I think that goes without saying. But this is a time to focus and to believe. A draw, arguably not good enough tomorrow. We have to go there and do what champions do. We have to go there and win. And even if we do that, there are still so many big games to come. This feeling, these nerves, this anxiety, this is what a title surge is all about. This is what it means to be champions. Whisper it in hushed tones. We could be champions this year, but nobody's giving us this. Not Manchester City, not Liverpool. None of the teams we yet face will roll over for us. Even outside of Arsenal, no one wants us to win this, I don't think. Not Spurs fans, not Chelsea fans, not Man United fans. So many times recently I've heard of us as a toxic fan base. I don't know where that's coming from, and I don't really care anymore. I think that we have a loyal, supportive fan base. And part of the success we have is that we've emulated what they do in Liverpool at Anfield. And we are going to face that tomorrow. And if we can get at them early and press, if we can flood that midfield, if we can get at them nice and early, if we can get a goal nice and early, perhaps their heads will drop. After all, they're not really playing for anything anymore, except pride. But never underestimate pride. I've already done a prediction. I've already said what I think is going to happen in this game. It's in a prediction video I did, which outlines every single game and where I thought we'd be right now. It's already slightly wrong because I'd hoped that Liverpool would get a draw out of City at the Etihad, and of course that didn't happen. I'm not necessarily... I tell you what, when all's said and done, before the game, there's nothing else to say now, really, except that you have a choice. In 89, I was convinced we'd blown it. I was convinced it wasn't going to happen. And when we won the league with the last kick of the game, I was as surprised and elated and overjoyed as anyone. You can be that person. You can doubt all the way. You can think it's done. But champions know one thing better than anyone. It is not over till it's over. Whatever happens tomorrow is down to the confidence of players like Saka, who on Match of the Day said, "We fear no one," and I believe him. Will Saliba play? No, I don't think he will. But Rob Holding's been around it long enough, and he's never let us down. Whoever goes out there tomorrow, whether he starts with Martinelli or Trossard, there's no more predictions from me. I have no idea who's going to start. I will say this, I hope that he doesn't tinker too much. I hope that he doesn't mess with things too much. I hope he has the confidence to send the team out like he's done all season, playing our way. And just focusing now, before that kickoff, on what I want to happen and how I'll feel if it does. And not thinking at all about the fact that we may lose, as we so often do, well, as we almost always do at Anfield. Instead, thinking what it will mean to a City watching us doing what we do not usually do once more this season. We've met and exceeded everybody's expectations of us this season. We are there on merit. It is down to us and City. And I am going to say, in signing off, I think we're going to be lucky. You do the same. I'll speak to you after the game. Lots of love.